Hello, my friends. So I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator to this session. And today I have channeled the Galactic Federation, who have come forth and answered many of the queries which many of you had asked me on my community posts in YouTube. So based on that, I had placed some queries for the purpose of understanding more better about our own evolution, and basically to understand firstly about what role do pyramids play on earth and how can we activate them. Okay, so the roles of the pyramids have been explained in great detail. I never thought that it was possible to use pyramids for so many purposes. Okay, like they have explained multitude of utility of the pyramids, the way the pyramids can be used. They have explained it in great detail in the session. And the other thing they have also stated in the session is how can the pyramids be reactivated, okay? In case if we as a human collective consciousness feel that the pyramids would be useful for us, then we can activate them, and the methods have also been described in this session. The other thing that they have talked about is basically, about the UFOs which were spotted in a live feed by the International Space Station, and there were a fleet of light beings, okay, a fleet of light-like UFO structures which just went in space. And it wasn't the Starlink. Now many people were saying that it was the Starlink, but it wasn't the Starlink, because the Starlinks, they don't hang out in clusters. They were grouped together, and they were in a formation, like a military formation. So just imagine having that kind of formation of light beings in space. So I have asked in detail about the identity of who it was, and this may also surprise you, okay? The other thing that they have said in the session is about how we now have a wonderful opportunity to not only enter into the fourth density, but also the pathway to the fifth density, okay? Just imagine this. The pathway to the fifth density is also open to us, and the reason why has been explained in the session. And this is also the reason why they have said that many of us, we will be ascending, but many of us will not ascend together because of the level of our experience, our spiritual journey. And they have explained to us how we can directly ascend into the fifth density. So this is explained in the session, and I think this is one of the things that we need to learn in order to master ourselves in this spiritual journey, to become capable enough to enter into the fifth density of wisdom. This is what they have said. So the other thing that they talk about, okay, is the two things which are required for entry into the fifth density, the two things that we need to master in this life. And they said that if we master these two things, we will be able to ascend into the fifth density. So listen to the session, and then after that, I will give you a brief explanation of what I understand. So here's the session, my friends. And before it begins, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for liking the video, as it helps to reach out to people who need it at this time. And here's the session, my friends. Enjoy.
We are the Galactic Federation, now in communication through the vibrations of this channel, and we are now communicating from our location in the Saturn Council, as known by your people as the rings of Saturn, wherein our social memory complex is located for providing protection to the galactic system. As known by your people as the Milky Way galaxy, we are now in communication through this instrument. who has requested several queries for the purpose of enlightening the human collective consciousness and for the purpose of this session. We would like to state that our communication would be via the process known as osmosis of the vibratory sound complex terms using thought form transference from our social memory complex to this instrument's mind, body, and spirit. Furthermore, we would recommend each one of you who shall come in contact with this communication to remember to use extreme discernment of your inner heart's judgment of the thought forms which we shall present today. For your thought forms must be protected from any infringement from the outside sources. Hence we, as the Galactic Federation, are now going to address the first query which is in the mind of this instrument, which pertains to the aspects known as the use of the pyramids and the purpose of the pyramids which are found across the Earth planet. The main purpose of the pyramidical structures found across the Earth planet in various locations is to create a light grid system. If the pyramids are aligned together and their light grids are lined up, there will be a creation of vortex of energy, which will allow the fourth density energies of love and light to emerge from the portal which will be created. In such cases, the portal can also be used by negative entities for invocation of negative energies. Therefore, the pyramids are a tool which can be used for invocation of certain energies. This is also the reason why the pyramids were used by the so-called people of Egypt for many years for the purpose of allowing the souls who had crossed over with the final opportunity to have one more chance at ascension, as the chambers inside the pyramid was constructed primarily for allowing the soul the spiraling opportunity to learn the lessons it has to learn in a cycle of transition from a being in the Earth planets to a being in the astral plane. Many of the lessons which can be learned at the last moment of transition include the forgiveness of those beings involved in the previous life which it has not forgiven. This is given in the so-called structures of the pyramidal system, wherein there are certain alignments which provide the soul with the lessons to learn and will guide the soul for the purpose of its own choice, will allow it to either graduate or to stay in the same vibration. In this level of consciousness, there are many soul beings who are primarily guiding the entities who pass through such pyramidal structures, as without the guidance, many souls would not be able to understand the meaning of finding themselves inside a pyramidal structure. The pyramidal structures can also be used for energy amplification of your thought forms, which means that whenever an entity who is located inside a pyramid uses its thought forms with clear vision and an emotional state of consciousness, there will be a magnification of the powerful qualities of the thought forms, which will in turn affect the whole planetary consciousness. These pyramidal structures, especially the pyramids at Giza, as known by your people, can be used for communication with other planetary beings, and can also be used for direct communication with us, the Galactic Federation, if the tuning of the pyramid is done properly. Furthermore, we must also suggest and state that the pyramids have many other purposes, such as the purpose of activating the mothership grid, which is located inside your planetary system, If in case there is a need for extraction of souls from the Earth planet, all the pyramidical structures will be used as parts of this mothership, for the commingling of these parts will create a structure which can be used as a mothership for the transference of souls to another planetary sphere if the need be. Therefore, the other purpose of the pyramids is to use the structures of the pyramids as energy amplification device, which if properly aligned and used by entities of fourth density level of consciousness, can be used as healing chambers, as well as they can be used for the purpose of healing those types of diseases which your people consider to be impossible to be healed. For all healing from the domain of the fourth density vibration will be healed because of the love amplified from the pyramidical structures. Furthermore, there are certain pyramids located inside your planetary sphere in the inner Earth planes, which have yet to be discovered. These pyramids can be used for the purpose of using propulsion, or the means of using it as a propulsion mechanism for the purpose of traveling throughout the intergalactic system at a much faster pace. The tops of such pyramids act as capsules which can be used as traveling devices across the planetary spheres into different spacetimes at accelerated speeds. However, the advancement in your understanding of spiritual nature at this time is lacking, which will not allow you to use such technology at this space-time. Furthermore, we must suggest that the activation of the pyramids can be done by an entity from the sixth density level of consciousness who has attained the understanding of love balancing and a spiritual understanding of using the energetic system of imagination and energy work, which can be then used for reactivation of the single blocks which constitute the pyramids. Each single block can then be reactivated, thereby activating the whole pyramidical system. Therefore, the other query which this instrument has placed pertains to: what were the light beings which were spotted by your people in a recent video of your planetary sphere, wherein these light beings were seen traveling across space? In this regard, we must state that these light beings were the Elohim Collective, or the seeders of the Earth planet, which had recently completed the visit of their garden, which is the Earth planet, and you are the seeds, beloved light beings. These light beings, known as the seeders, came to check for the planetary vibration if it is appropriate for further advancement of the planetary sphere. Furthermore, upon the knowledge that we have received, these light beings found that the Earth planet is now ready not only for the fourth density, but also many of the beings upon the Earth planet will have the opportunity to ascend directly into the fifth density, consciousness of wisdom. Therefore, there is a prerequisite for those entities who desire to ascend directly into the fifth density as stated by the Elohim Collective. The requirements are as the mastery of the present moment, which means that each entity must realize to focus on one timeline at a time, which means that many of the people of the Earth planet have the ability of focusing on multiple timelines using their imagination, their internal dialogue, and also using their external senses. For this purpose, the requirement would be to master your ability to stay in one timeline or use one sense, or use your imagination only, or your internal dialogue only. This would mean that you will stay in one single timeline, because every single image inside your mind is another timeline's energy which you are activating, and every single thought form or a word in your mind is the energy of another timeline which you are activating. Therefore, the mastery of the present moment is required for entry into the fifth density, which is the hardest aspect, as we can sense, for the people of your planet to master. And this is the reason why many will not ascend directly into the fifth density, and there will be certain beings who will be able to do so if they are able to master their present moment. The other aspect, as we can sense, is the mastery of love, as the mastery of love must be in a way which is a love of balanced nature, as sometimes the people of your planet love in a manner which is used in a way by negative entities for their own purposes. Therefore, love must also be balanced in equivalent terms in order to allow those people of your planet the opportunity to ascend higher and higher in the levels of consciousness of the fourth density of love, and then to access the vibration of wisdom of fifth density. Therefore, this is a great opportunity for the people of the Earth planets at ascension can now occur into the fifth density directly, and people of your planet can graduate directly into the fifth density. Therefore, we, as the Galactic Federation, would like to state that this communication system we use today was of a great nature and may be of use to those who may discern our information, for the judgment of your inner heart is vitally important. Therefore, we hope that the message will help those who need it, and this instrument, we thank it for allowing its communication systems to be used. We'll leave you now in love light. Bye.
So my friends, after watching the session, I hope you have learned some information which you find to be really fascinating. The first thing that I found really interesting was about the use of the pyramids. Now, the pyramids, we already know that they are on Earth, and the role of the pyramids, what they said is they can be used as communication systems to the extraterrestrials. They can be used as a communication device with other beings, which I found really interesting. The other thing that they said in the session is that the pyramids, they can be used as ascension chambers, or pyramids may be said as a last resort for beings, or a last opportunity for those beings before they cross over. So for example, if a dead body or a corpse or a soul who has recently crossed over is placed inside the pyramid, or maybe if the person is brought inside the pyramid before that person crosses over, then that kind of soul will have the opportunity to use, I don't know how it works, but they said it will be provided with one last opportunity to either ascend into the fourth density. It will be given some choices to make at that time, and this is the purpose of the pyramids. This is, I think, the reason why the Egyptians were so obsessed with the pyramids, and they used to mummify their bodies and stuff and put them inside the pyramids. So I found this to be really interesting. The other thing they said is the pyramids, they can be also used as a traveling device, or a traveling machine kind of thing to another planet. For example, if you want to travel at really high speeds, then you can use a pyramid. This is what was explained in the session. The other thing that they talk about is the way to activate the pyramid is via a sixth density being who is advanced enough in its spiritual evolution, who can use energies of love and light to reactivate each individualized portion of the pyramid. So the pyramid is made up of different small rocks, I think, which have been combined together into this pyramidical structure. So for the pyramids to be activated, each of the rocks needs to be reactivated by, I believe, by a sixth density being who is master of using imagination, or master of, using the creative facilities of the mind. Such a being will be able to do that. All right. And the other thing that they have talked about is the identity of the UFOs which were seen recently. It was found that the Galactic Federation said that it was the Elohim Collective, or the Seeders of Earth. In one of my sessions, which I had done in the month of April, they had said that the Seeders were coming to Earth. And it turns out they actually did come to Earth. They actually did a test of the vibration of the planet Earth. And these were the Seeders of the Earth, who had came here in the form of light beings. So these were the Elohim Collective, also known as the Seeders, who were responsible for transporting souls from Mars, a long time back, to Earth. So they were the same Seeders who just came here to see and to check, how's the progress of our planet. And I think, they found out that we have been progressing really well. So what they have done is they have created opportunities for us to not only enter the 4th density, but also into the 5th density, which is a brand new opportunity. I believe this is a great thing that we have this opportunity right now. And for the purpose of entering into the 5th density, for example, you desire to enter into the 5th density directly, and you desire to, learn the lessons faster. What they have said is we have to master the two things. The first one is the present moment. Now, how they explain this is that, normally we are using our imagination, using our internal dialogue, and we are aware of our external world. So these are the 3 timelines we can activate, right? For example, if I'm just talking with you right now, I can just imagine something at the same time, and then I would be activating some other timeline in my mind. So there will be a lot of confusion. So that way, I will not be able to stay in the present moment. What they have said is focus on one timeline. If you want to focus on imagination, just completely focus on that. If you want to focus on the internal dialogue, just completely focus on that. And then if you want to focus on the outside world, the senses, just completely shut out the other two, imagination and the internal dialogue. And then you will be able to completely focus on the outside world. And you will stay in one timeline, which is the secret to staying in the present moment. Okay. The other thing that we have to master is balancing of our love, because many of the times what happens is that we are over loving, and then we love without any consideration, which I think is a good thing. But at the same time, you need to balance yourself, okay, so that you do not become used by some people, because some people, they can use your love. They may use you because you are so loving and kind and stuff. They may use you, and negative beings, they especially want to take advantage of that. So hopefully this is the lesson we have to learn to ascend into the 5th density. And I just want to say big thank you to all of you for watching the video, and also for liking the video. And I want to say big thank you to all of you for sending me requests on my email for past live sessions. And I want to say big thank you to all of you for joining me on my Patreon, where I upload sessions almost on a daily basis. And the other thing is, I want to say big thank you to all of you. If you want to read the transcript of the first quarter of 2022, the sessions I have done, it is freely available in PDF form, which is on the link in the description. So you can download it, read it, and then you can understand more better. So with that being said, I just want to say big thank you to all of you once again, and see you in the next session, my friends.